What's going on, guys? This is Damien from the Lookout, and I'm here with Alexis' first place Golden Frieza deck breakdown. Yes, this is the Golden Frieza piloted by Alexis at the French Zenkai Cup. This is the deck that took the first place on the French Zenkai Cup. But before we begin this video, hit that like and subscribe button. We are on our way to 3,000 subs, and we're trying to hit it by the end of March. Now, roll the video.
Card Market is Europe's largest platform for all TCGs. Always find the right cards by buying and selling them across Europe with other players and collectors. Be it singles, boosters, booster boxes, or any other accessories, you name it. Card Market is the place to get them safely, securely, and readily available.
Okay, let's do the deck through Deck Planet once again. I'm once again by myself here because I am working on an announcement together with Nicolina, and all of our free time, every second of our free time is dedicated to the announcement video. So this is the perfect way for me to save time. But let's just ignore all that and let's jump into the deck. Guys, some of you are new to the game. So some of you don't know this leader. This is a set 1 leader. On the front side he has an activate main which allows you to send one Frieza army battle card to your drop, to draw one and restand 1 energy. He only awakens on 4 lives or less. That is one of the biggest downsides of the leader. But on the awakened side he's insane. He still does the same activate main, but this time you restand 2 energy and you draw a card. And he draws when he attacks. And of course when he awakens, he draws 2 cards. So this one just draws like crazy. Let's start with the Frieza Army engine. 4 copies of Ginyu, 4 copies of Taguba. Guys, if you're seeing this deck for the first time, everything below auto, you can just ignore it. These cards are only here for drawing. That's what they do. So you pay 1 energy, you draw 1, that's basically it. They're mostly here so that you can just KO them to draw and restand your energies. Then we have some other cards here. We have 2 copies of Frieza biding his time. Man, like this is an old one from set 5. What it does is auto, when you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 2 or less, ignoring barrier, and switch it to rest mode. So this is a tech card in cases where you still want to get your 1-drops out, where you still want to get your Frieza army cards out so that you can send them to the drop to restand stuff. But if an opponent has something that costs 2 or less and it has barrier and you want to get rid of it, then this is the card that you're cheating out. You will have an extra card that allows you to play Frieza army cards, so this is a tech option, because sometimes it's better to just get rid of something difficult than to just instead like draw 1 card and that's it. We also have 1 copy of a 2-cost Frieza Malicious Streak. So I actually had to look up this card when I was doing this, building this deck on Deck Planet, because I don't remember this card at all. But apparently it's an expansion rare from the anniversary box. I think from the first anniversary box, not sure. 5k auto. When this card is placed in a drop area from your battle area, so with your leader's ability basically, you may choose 1 card in your life and add it to your hand. If you do, choose up to 1 Frieza card from your hand with an energy cost of 2 or less other than this card and play it. So usually these Frieza decks used to run a Master Roshi card that grabs a life when you play it, and then you can pay 1 to grab another life, because Frieza doesn't have a way to self-awaken. The best way to beat this deck is just to not attack it. Don't let it self-awaken. However, as you can see, now there are some other options, and this Frieza is one of those phenomenal options, because unlike Roshi, you can actually send him to the drop and then you can restand your energy. So great option, great tech option. I love it. I really love it. Next up we have a bit of a different engine. Okay, this one really caught me by surprise. Pen growing up fast. What this card does is Unique barrier, when you play to draw one, your leader doesn't work with it, of course, because it's not a Frieza army card. Activate main if your leader is a yellow Piccolo superhero, so it just doesn't matter. Activate main doesn't exist. It's basically here as a one cost. When you play to draw a card, it has barrier, and that's basically it. But that's not all, because we also have Pen Inherited Bloodline 3 copies. Okay, this is one of those cards from the first, from Dawn of the Z Legend, the first Zenkai set, that everyone had their eyes on, but we didn't see it explode as much everyone expected to. What it does is deflect unique dual attack permanent. When this card would leave your battle area, remove it from the game instead, and then comes a Bible of text. Auto, 1 yellow, if your leader is yellow and your opponent has 2 or more energy. When you place this card from your Z energy in your drop area to pay a Z energy cost of a mono yellow Z battle card with an energy cost of 2 or more, play this card from your drop, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, and KO it. And then also when this card attacks, choose up to one of your mono yellow battle cards with 5k combo and combo with it to recharge your Z energy. Basically what the pen is a barrier removal. But that's not all. 4 copies, 4 of Son Gohan Flash of Brilliance. Wow, 4 copies of this card in the Frieza deck. I would never have expected this. So this was the first Piccolo superhero Zenkai Set 1 BT18 boss monster that looks phenomenal on paper, but never really saw too much play, though there was a lot of conversation of just using it as a generic yellow boss monster. What it does is deflect, dual attack, EX evolve, limit 1 for 1 yellow and 2 generic. There are ways to just make it 1 yellow. So let's just think of it as 1 yellow, EX evolve. Permanent, when he leaves the battle area he is removed. Other permanent, you can use his EX evolve from your drop. Auto, if you have 4 or more energy and a yellow pen superhero in play, which you can get, you have the barrier one. When this card is played, it gains double strike and barrier. So deflect, dual attack, double strike, barrier, 30k. And then second auto, just in case that you have a yellow Unison in play, when he attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, negate its skills for the turn and KO it. Okay. Super dangerous, super cool. You know, one of the problems was that in the Piccolo deck, first, like, your hand isn't the best and you're really limiting yourself with energies. You limit yourself with energies a lot in all other yellow decks, but Frieza's ability to restand energy actually makes this line more playable. So that's why this boss monster works in the deck. Because you can commit energy to play it and then you can just remove one of your 1-drops and then restand energy. You have your defensive tool online immediately. Next turn you can just counter with cards such as Robotic Riposte, 4 copies of, haha, see the transition, very smooth, and 2 copies of Metacooler Infinite Terror, the newest one, the newest promo Metacooler. If you don't know what it does, I need to remind myself. Counter attack limit 1. If your leader is mono yellow, negate the attack and play it. Permanent, if you have a Z leader or Z battle card in play, you can activate its counter attack cost without spending any energy. And bond 2, he gains plus 5k and barrier. So yeah, you actually gain energy to defend yourself. Like after you play this one, you let's say send Dagoma, for example, to the drop. Restand 2, your opponent does something, he swings or, yeah, swings basically, removes Gohan, for example. You just said like, okay, fine, 1 energy Mecha Frieza, that's it, Robotic Riposte, you cannot attack. That's awesome. Next up, we have 2 copies of Swift Retaliation Cooler. Swift Retaliation Cooler, the counter one, this one just seals games. It seals and steals games. Like, this is just when you're swinging for the win. It's pretty standard in all yellow decks now. You just pay free energy, which is easy to get with Frieza, who just restands too, and then you just negate your opponent's counter, you dump your hand and you win the game. Then we have 2 copies of Basil Fatal Rampage. 1 to 2 copies is pretty standard in all yellow decks. Then we have 3 copies of the Krillin Super Combo. So when you see 3 copies of a yellow Super Combo, you know what the secret rare is. Then we have 1 copy of Black Smoke. This is more and more of a staple in almost every deck. I mean, it is a sideboard staple, but more and more decks just play 1 copy in the main board and the other one in the sideboard, and I believe that it's the same for this deck as well. You see Errata here, I think you know what's coming. Mira Creator Absorbed, and yes, of course, Oolong is in the Z Battle deck. So one of the win conditions is, for example, you can make Mira huge, you swing, opponent tries to counter, you play cooler, and then you just play like Champa or something and go for the game. Champa. Yeah. Then we have the extra cards, I believe. I'm just checking. No, first we have the Unison. Now, there has been a lot of talk about this Unison lately. As soon as Frieza appeared in the top lists, people were talking about this Unison. Son Gohan and Higher Dragon. Okay, so this is the one that I actually forgot existed. This came out in Draft Box 6 Giant Force. So I had no idea that this one existed until very recently. Permanent. During your turn, if you have a skillless battle card in play, this card gets plus 10k power. Sure, whatever. It's a 1 cost 5k. Plus 1, activate main, play up to 1 yellow battle card with an energy cost of 1 from your drop in the rest mode with its skills negated. And for plus 0, he draws a card. The plus 1 is the main reason why you're playing specifically this Unison, is because for plus 1, he gets you your Ginyu, your Tagoma, your Frieza. He even gets you Pan. If you need Pan for, let's say, Gohan to work, you get Pan as well. Basil, don't do that. But anyway, you get like these 3 M Pan. This is amazing because this Unison is basically a recursion engine. If you don't see your extra cards that get you your 1-drops out, you can just play the Unison and just keep recurring your 1-drops and then just keep restanding. Awesome. Then I think we have extra cards. Yes, 2 copies of Frieza Army Reinforcements, pretty standard, token negate. 1 copy of Cold Bloodlust. This card was once available as 4-off. This card is insanely strong. Basically, what you do with Cold Bloodlust, and you can play this only in Frieza decks, which is one of the reasons why this deck is so scary. Counterplay, if your leader is Frieza Army card, the battle card has its skills negated for the duration of the turn. So when your opponent is playing a card, you counterplay it and it enters blank. It enters skillless. Awesome. Insanely strong. You can just like blank your opponent's boss monster. Yeah, good luck. You just spend a bunch of energy getting them out and you're like, okay, 1 energy Cold Bloodlust. This is like a secret rare level of an extra card, but it's just Frieza locked and it's limited to 1. Then we have 4 copies of Time Magic. We have 1 copy of Tyrannical Blow and limited to 1, of course, Power of the Super Saiyan. So this Tyrannical Blow and Power of the Super Saiyan, they're basically staples in all yellow decks. Time and Magic as 4 copies isn't something that you usually see as often. I'm just checking. Okay, sure. Time Magic 4 copies. Counter attack. Your leader is yellow. You negate the attack, then you choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, and they cannot restand. So that's what Time Magic does. These are like 4 copies. Usually, you either see like 2, 1 to 2. Lately, that's what I've been seeing. And then you see like Nimbus, for example. But here, just going hard on 4 copies of Time Magic. No Nimbus. 4 copies of Frieza's Call. So Frieza's Call for 1 energy, it gets you your 1 cost Frieza Army guys in play, basically. I think it gets, just let me check, I think it goes also to 2 cost as well. Yeah, For 1 energy, choose one Frieza's army card with an energy cost of 2 or less from your deck and play it in rest mode. So this way you can actually get, and it's not with skills negated, so you can actually get your 2-drop Frieza out, the one who takes a life when you need to awaken. Awesome. And finally, the SCR. Because what else can it be? What else? Swing. Does the opponent have a counter? Yes. Free energy, swift retaliation cooler, super combo, win the game. Awesome. Let's move to the Z deck. Yeah, you don't have the Z deck here. Okay, so we need to switch. So going to the Z deck, we have 4 copies of Son Gohan facing new foes. This card works perfectly with the boss monster because it removes this 2 cost for EX Evolve, which is why we're playing 4 copies of it. Only a single copy of SSB Sangoku Evolved Defender. I would argue that Golden Frieza is one of those decks where you can actually play 2 copies because of his ability to restand energy. However, I still wouldn't play 2 copies. I think that I still wouldn't play, but I would argue that you can do this more safely in this deck than in other decks. Then only 1 Oolong, you don't need more than 1. Oolong is basically only played with Mira. So you make Mira huge and then you play, let's say you make him 80k, you play Oolong, Oolong becomes 80k. And 1 less card for Self-Awakening, 1 Vegeta surmounting the impossible when you really need to drop to those 4 lives to awaken. And finally, let's briefly go over the side deck. 2 copies of Release from Evil, amazing card, staple in all yellow sideboards. Some decks play it in the main board as well. Super expensive at the moment, at least in Europe it's like 14-ish, 11 to 15 euros a piece. So if you have this card, great for you, it's an amazing card, play it in all yellow decks. 1 copy of Smoke Dragon, 1 copy of Dende new to the job, 2 copies of Koitsukai, 2 more copies of Tyrannical Blow, and now the thing that I wanted to talk about, really talk about, 3 copies of Vegeta Unison of Fury. This one just shuts down Gogeta because like -1, activate main, your opponent can't attack with battle cards with an energy cost greater than their current energy until the end of the turn. So if you're facing a Gogeta GT deck, you just side 3 of these in and you just shut it down. And finally, 2 copies of Vegeta striving to be the best. And yeah, that's everything guys, that is the first place French Zenkai Cup Golden Frieza. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this deck? Are you surprised as I am to see Golden Frieza taking a Zenkai Cup? Are you surprised to see the Gohan superhero package in it? Because like I did not expect this. Like this is a phenomenal build. I cannot wait to try it out. I'm already looking at ordering some of these cards. It looks amazing. Let me know in the comments below. I read all of your comments. I try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And before you leave, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us a lot and help us reach our goal of 3,000 subs by the end of March. This has been Damien from The Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.